Okay, let me share. Yeah. Okay. So let's begin with circulatory system. Fine. See, when we talk about circulatory system, we'll talk about how the blood, the liquid part, the liquid connective tissue, how it is flowing in the system, in the body. When we say system, the meaning is body. So, so in higher and multicellular organisms, okay, like those who are big and multicellular, how the transportation is going on. So they have a very defined channel, defined system through which the circulation of blood take place. So first point you can say that in higher organism, in higher and multicellular, because generally, not generally, always higher organisms are multicellular organism. A transport system, or you can say circulatory system, that same thing is needed to supply nutrients to each and every part of the body, because body is big and blood is only way through which the substance, the nutrients can be reached, or I mean it is used as a medium for transportation of everything, nutrients, waste substances, hormones, minerals, everything. So it's very important. So you can say that the system is needed to supply nutrients and oxygen to their tissue, and also carry wastes, and also carry the waste away from the body. Now there is a two meaning. When we say away of the body, that means they are sending to the excretory organ, where the wastes are going to get collected and removed out from the body. So it's quite uh, I mean complicated process of sending all the nutrients and taking out all the waste. So garbage collection process is also highly specialized. Right? So before going to discuss about circulatory system, we'll talk about some functions of the system. So we'll talk about function of circulatory system. So first function is already I mean clear. They are transporting uh, gases. They are transporting nutrients. They are transporting waste substances. Apart from that, they also transport some other things. So let me write here the first function, that transport respiratory transport of respiratory gases. Respiratory gases. So in the respiratory gases, we will consider oxygen and CO2 always. There is no other gas. Then nutrients. When we say nutrients, the meaning is amino acid. I've written AA, amino acid, then glucose, right? Fats, etc. All these are also transported. So gas, nutrients, and nitrogenous base. Right? Nitrogen base. What are the nitrogenous bases in the body? Do you have any idea?
Ammonia, urea, uric acid.
Yeah, you can say ammonia. Correct. Urea, uric acid. Which is more toxic? What do you feel?
Ammonia is the most toxic.
And okay, okay, we'll discuss about this later, not now. Then again, it will take a long time. So that we will cover in the excretory part. Okay, so next function. They also transport hormones. You can say transport of hormones such as adrenaline. This is an triple F hormone which provide energy, immediate energy to the body to work under very rare circumstances where you need to do something very quick and instantly. Then what else? Transport of hormones, transport of intermediate metabolites. That's also helps. So transportation of intermediate metabolite. And when we say intermediate metabolite, example is lactic acid. If you know, you know that in the process of respiration, or glucose is converted into pyruvate, and then pyruvate is converted into lactic acid in case of anaerobic respiration. So lactic acid is an intermediate. They can be converted into glucose back, and then once oxygen is there, it will go in complete oxidation and energy will be released. Then next function is maintain homeothermy, like maintaining constant body temperature or equalizing distribution of heat. That will be the correct term. Equal distribution of heat in the body. That is also done by the system, circulatory system. Next and the last, they also transport water, transport minerals, ions, and water. Okay. Now we will talk about uh, types. What are the types of circulatory system? If you will categorize all the, if you are going to see all the organism, what type of circulatory system they have, then on that basis you can say that there is a two type. One is called open system, also called open circulatory system, and another is closed circulatory system. Right. So in this section we'll talk about the types now. Okay. So let me write here types of circulatory system. So there is two type. Open circulatory system and closed circulatory system. So as we say closed, that means the blood is flowing in a closed circuit. There is no leakage, right? When we say open circuit, that means blood is exposed to the air, and this process is happening just to uh, take all the there's exchange of gases between organism and the surrounding. So this open system will do the differentiation here only. This open system is found uh, in arthropods. You can you can say found in leeches, right, molluscus, and arthropods. All these have open circulatory system. Arthropods, uh, molluscus, except octopus. Always remember, octopus they have a closed system, right? Next point in the open circulatory system is blood is not confined to any tube or duct or pipe. So blood does not present or confined to the blood vessel. It may comes out into open space, right, for exchange of nutrients or exchange of gases, right? So this process keep on going. So whenever there is a requirement of any nutrients or oxygen, blood will go to the area where it is directly exposed to the normal air, and then all the things will be exchanged. That's called uh, sinuses or channels. So second point, so you can say that blood does not flow, or you can say does not remain confined to blood, blood vessels. It comes out into open space, space or channel, you can say, where it will get exchanged. Then, then you can talk about the open space. So when we say open space, example is a sinus, SINUSES, and example of channel is lacunae. In animal classification and we have discussed about all these two openings. So these sinuses actually join to form body cavity. So that's the role of the sinuses. Next point, you can say that these sinuses is the open area or open space join to form body cavity. So body has a small cavity, and where the blood will come and nutrients will be exchanged, and then it will again flow back into the body. So these sinuses join to form body cavity, which is filled with blood, and is called homeocoele, if you remember. HAEMOCOE. Next, the organs or the tissues, they are present near to the sinuses. They, they get all the nutrients from the open area, that is cavity. So next point, you can say that the organ lie dipped in blood in these sinuses, and in this way, the exchange will take place. So there is a direct exchange. It's not like there is an indirect. There is no one in between the blood and the open space. So it's a direct exchange. So the next and last point, you can say that direct exchange of gases and substances takes place between tissue and the blood, between tissue and blood. And the very unique feature is The blood which is flowing in the open system, they always move with low pressure, right? Any reason why?
No.
And if you will see the structure of blood vessels which are present in these organisms, they don't have smooth muscles. So due to absence of smooth muscles, the blood is flowing at the low speed. That's the first reason. Second reason is, think about, if suppose blood is flowing with the high speed, then in the open space, blood can come out from the body, right? But the purpose of open cavity is not for that. The purpose is for gases exchange or nutrient exchange. So blood is flowing in with low pressure so that whatever the fundamental idea behind this will be done. That is exchange of substances. Got it? So we can mention this point also here, that in open circulatory system, blood flows at a very low pressure due to absence of smooth muscles in the blood vessels. Now, when we say blood vessels, that means blood cells are there. So, do you think in the open circulatory system there is any blood cells?
Mm, no, they only come in the closed circulatory system, right?
Yes. So there is no RBC or WBC like that. So the answer for this is the respiratory. I mean the blood plasma, which is present in the open circulatory system, they contain respiratory pigments, which is dissolved in the plasma, which helps in absorption of all the gases. Right? Okay. Let's come back to the next closed circulatory system. So in the closed circulatory system, you will find these system in annelids and in all vertebrates. You can say found in annelids, annelida, and all vertebrates. All have this kind of system, open system. Now, what about the blood? So blood is remain in the closed circuit. There is no leakage. They are not being exposed to any open area, right? So they are confined to the closed circuit itself. So you can say that blood remains in the blood vessels. Blood always remains in closed tubular blood vessels. When we say blood vessels, we are talking about um, like arteries, veins, and blood capillaries. Arteries, vein, and capillaries. Right. Next point. As so, you will find that blood vessels have smooth muscles here. Right. So, due to presence of smooth muscles, blood flow will be higher. I mean, higher pressure due to their regular contraction and expansion of the walls of the blood vessels, because blood vessels wall have smooth muscles, so they can easily expand as well as contract, so there is no problem. So there is no chance of breakage in the blood vessels. Got it? That's a very important feature here. So you can say that as the blood vessels have smooth muscles, blood flow, at high pressure or at higher pressure due to their regular, or you can say rhythmic, contraction and expansion. Or you can say contraction and relaxation. Relaxation will be the right word. Okay, next difference you will find that in a closed circulatory system, no direct contact between blood and the tissue. There is no direct contact. Okay, but in the open system there was a direct contact. So you can say here no direct contact between blood and tissues. Next point. What about the exchange of substances? So exchange of material takes place between the blood and the tissue fluid. So there is tissue fluid is the liquid present in the gaps of the cells. So first, blood vessels, or the arteries or the blood capillaries will release the nutrients in the gap, and that gap contain liquid which is called intracellular fluid, and then from that fluid the nutrients will be taken by the cells. So that's why here I have written no direct contact. Right? So you can give a point here that exchange of material take place between blood, that means in capillaries, and tissue fluid. And these fluids are present in gaps, in inner circular gaps, inner circular spaces. And then after that, from these space, nutrients or the things will be exchanged between the cell. So again, there is no direct contact. Now, what about the efficiency, which is more efficient system? So closed system is highly efficient because there is an orderly way in which the nutrients and the gas and everything is being exchanged, right? So you can say that closed circulatory system, CSS, is more efficient. Efficient in transporting material. They are more efficient as well as they are faster also, because circuit is closed, and second thing is they have a smooth walls, so they are easily moving without any problem. Now, as by if you want to control the flow of nutrients or flow of anything, that can be done easily by controlling the contraction and the relaxation of the smooth muscles. If that is being controlled, you can control the blood flow, right? Like every uh, vehicles have a brake, right? So brake helps to stop the vehicle at any time. In the same way, blood vessels also have a braking system, but there is no as such. The flow is being controlled by the regular monitoring the expansion and the contraction of the blood vessels. So last point you can say that by controlling the contraction and relaxation relaxation volume of blood flowing through an organ can be regulated. Fine. And so in this way, the flow and everything will be maintained as well as controlled also. Fine.
Yes, sir.
Okay. Next is circulatory system in humans. So as we know that humans have a closed circulatory system where blood never comes out from the blood vessels and the exchange of substances takes place through the blood capillaries within the tissue and the blood. So in the circulatory system, there is three main component, right? So let's talk about the component here. Three component. So what are the three components? Let's talk about that. First is blood vessel, right? Second is heart, heart system, and the third is blood and lymph. These are the three main component of circulatory system in the body. So first we'll talk about blood vessels. That's our agenda for today. So number one, we'll talk about blood vessels. Okay. So blood vessels, first of all, it is a hollow tube. It's a long, highly branched. So first point you can say here that they are hollow tubular structure. They are tube-like, and everything is flowing within that. And there's a three types of blood vessel, right? So we know that first is arteries, second is vein, and the third is capillaries. Okay, so let's see the structure of arteries, how arteries look like. Arteries and veins. I will draw the structure of arteries and vein both, and then we will try to compare. Okay, right. So this is the structure of artery. Arteries is quite broad like this. Veins are also like this. This is outer layer. Then there is one more layer here. So there are total three layers. So this is first layer, this is second layer, and then there is one more inner layer. And this is called lumen, the inner layer. In this vein have again three layers like this. This is first layer, this is second layer, this is third layer, right? This is first, second, and there is one more thin layer is present here. And each layer have the same name. This is called lumen. This outermost layer, this one, let me use a different pen. Yeah, this one. This outer layer and this outer layer. It's the same name called Tunica Externa because they are present outside. Now this middle layer, this one. And here also there is a middle layer. This is called Tunica media. The third one, this one. This particular layer, the third layer. Here also. This is called elastic membrane. Then there is a inner cellular layer like this. These are the cells. Here also, in this, they are a group of cells arranged like this. These cells are called endothelium because they are present inside. Okay, these cells, endothelium. There is one more term called epithelium. When we say epithelium, that means it is present outside. Endothelium is present inside. And these two are lumen, the gap where blood is flown. This is artery. This is vein. I will show you the structure of arteries and veins. Yeah, this is this one. Let me show you some good diagram where you can differentiate all the parts. So, yeah, here you can see tunica externa, that is also called tunica adventitia, the outer one. Next is the tunica media. Here also tunica interna, which is also called the elastic membrane, which we have written like this one, elastic membrane, which is also called tunica interna, right? And there is a endothelium and then there is a lumen. This is how the structure look like.
Yes, sir.
Okay, fine then. Let's go to the difference between these two, arteries and veins. Arteries, if you will see, if you will compare the artery with the vein, they have thin wall. I mean, arteries have a thick valve, and veins are thin wall. Now, veins carries deoxygenated blood and sent to the heart, whereas artery they uh, sends the blood away to the heart. Right? That's a fundamental orientation how the blood is flowing. So in arteries, you can say carry blood away from heart, and in veins brings blood into the heart. Next difference. So arteries carries deoxygenated blood, sorry, oxygenated blood. So you can say here that they are invariably carry oxygenated blood, whereas veins they are invariably carrying deoxygenated blood. So you can say here that they invariably carry deoxygenated blood. There are some exceptions also, like let me write that exception here. So except pulmonary vein. This is the only vein which carries as oxygenated blood. Here also there is an exception. You can say except pulmonary artery. They carry this deoxygenated blood. You'll see in the structure of the heart what are and these are I mean which all the blood vessels are. Next difference. Artery have artery word I mean blood vessels are uh, quite elastic, so they can expand and contract, and they have a narrow lumen. So due to presence of narrow lumen, there is an inverse relationship between pressure and the area, right? Less area, more pressure. More area, less pressure. So if you will compare the lumen, let me compare. See the lumen. Lumen of the arteries is very small with respect to the vein. So in this you
Yeah.
will find that blood is flowing with high pressure. So pressure is inversely proportional to area. Area less, pressure more. Area more, pressure will be low. That's why in vein blood is flowing with low speed. Right? So we'll write the fourth difference, that their wall is elastic in nature and they have narrow lumen. And here you can say reverse. Wall is not that much elastic. So you can say their wall is less elastic and they have wider lumen. Right? So based on the lumen, you can say that blood flow with high speed, blood flows under high pressure, and here blood is flowing under low pressure. So whenever blood is flowing under low pressure, so there is always a chance that there is a backflow, right? So to prevent the backflow, there is a valve here. So you can say vein contain valve to prevent backflow. So valves ensures that blood is flowing in one direction. Here in arteries, there is no valve. Next difference. If you see the location, exactly where these blood vessels are present, arteries are located deeply under the muscles, right? They are not exposed outside. You can say that they are deeply placed under the muscles. Do you know there is some area where muscles, where blood vessels, the artery, they are not that much deep. Example, except you can say neck region, ankle, temple, and wrists or waist, you can say. These are the places where arteries are not deeply present. Veins are superficially present. You can easily find out vein. Superficially located or present. What next? Blood flow. Blood flow under high pressure. The speed is very high because there is no valve. Okay, so we have already discussed here. So yeah, so that's it about the structure of the arteries and vein and the difference. Let's try to understand the structure once again. So if you'll compare the tunica externa, the tunica externa is a thicker area, thicker part in the arteries, sorry, in the vein and then arteries, right? So this is how the structure is being maintained and the blood flow is regulated between arteries and the vein, right? So that's it.